Hi, my name is Benjamin Berrigan. I'm doing this again for like the 15th time. This is a show or a recording or something I'm going to be doing here for probably the rest of my life, according to what I found on my schizophrenia. This is an educational kind of page or YouTube. I will be having a link to my Facebook. I'm probably going to blast this all over the place. I want to try to reach as many people as possible. So if you can help me, if you know anybody that has a problem with voices in their head, suffer from schizophrenia, which lately, as of late, I've been suffering from schizophrenia and when I say suffering, I mean suffering from schizophrenia. It's it's a very debilitating disease that you get. But the crazy thing about that, what I've been going through is I've come recently to find that there's a possibility I might not be a schizophrenic. Let me introduce myself. My name is Benjamin Berrigan. I am 43 years old. I'm a grown-ass man. I had a lot ahead of me, and I had to do it. A body too. I'm healthy. There's nothing really wrong with me. I mean, there's some things, but things I could overcome. I'm a very strong person. I could take a lot through this schizophrenia. Just schizophrenia itself debilitates you. It puts you on a couch. It makes you what do you call that? You can get disability. I choose not to. I don't. I get maybe my ego, my pride, or something. I'm just too young. I feel healthy. Other than this, and it's taken a turn for worse lately. I've been doing research, trying to write a book because of something that happened to me a while ago. I'm a native of Denver, Colorado, United States citizen. Born here and raised in Los Palios, Michoacan. I'm also bilingual, Spanish being my first language. Came back here at a ripe age just to get started in my education. So I did very well in school. I'm a blessed man. I mean, as far as education goes, I mean, I worked hard for what I've got. I was born well dyslexic. Things flip on me like crazy. It's bad enough having Spanish being my first language and then English being ass backwards. So yeah, it made it hard for me learning a language that's literally written backwards from Spanish. I mean, I am an American citizen, and as you can tell, I speak perfect English. I don't use big words or anything. I use small words, but I can get my stuff across. I know how to express myself just well and speak. So it's let me first off is if you're watching this, thank you for watching. This is probably gonna be one of many. I'm gonna try to touch base on everything that I feel is important right now concerning schizophrenia that I have been made to believe I am. Okay, and I say made to believe because as you can see from my title that I've posted, it's due to human trafficking, aka gang stalking, lynch mobbing. It's they've got so many names. It's basically a group of vigilantes or people, whatever. It's a group of people with obviously a lot of money. I mean, their sources are unlimited. They have unlimited resources, and I never heard of it. Like I had a couple friends now. Now it's actually becoming a little bit more spoken of, and I have a relative and some friends and then some newfound acquaintances that they just start speaking of this going on, and to me it's just insane. It's ludicrous. Like their gang stalking starts with it's on they do it like in the streets, and they have the weirdest. I mean, gang stalking to me, when I first heard of it, they told me gang stalking, and I was lost. I'm like, what's gang stalking? Like, what are you talking about? Like, gangs, they're stalking people? They're not doing drive-bys no more? Like, that's how naive I was to it. Like, it's just, and it just sounded so, that's just, it just can't happen. We're in America. We're not in a third world country. We're in America. This is the United States of America. We're not going back. We're going up. Like, we're getting better. Like, and then this happens. Like, dude, something's really wrong with that picture. Because I come from Mexico, and I mean, I'm born here, but I was raised out there. My youth, I came back by the second grade, possibly, I think. Okay, so I know countries that they ain't up to par like us. So for this to happen, I'm just sitting here like, dude, no, it can't happen. Like, I'm very educated in the system, the Constitution, laws, that. I'm very, very educated. I know my history. I know everything. I was a 3.8 GPA student. I'm an intellect. I'm smart. People say genius. It's like, dude, no. Genius, you're born with it. I was born with things that make you non-genius, hinder your intellect. No, I worked for mine. I worked my butt off for mine. I went to Fairmont Elementary. It has a very high curriculum. Thank God. Because of them, by the 6th grade, I could have graduated high school, put it that way. I had a 3.8 GPA. In the 8th grade, I tested out at the 2nd and 3rd year college in everything other than reading and writing, and that was that was senior level. So I could have graduated in the 8th grade, basically. I could have had a low grade in the 6th grade and graduated in the 6th grade. So I'm actually pretty intelligent. I don't really go around telling anybody because nowadays people just don't really recognize it. And then to me, it's just a bunch of useless knowledge. I didn't have no one to talk to about it. I'm an inventor, a philosopher. I've studied psychology. I wanted to become a brain surgeon when I was younger. So the brain I love the brain. When I first discovered my brain, it kind of messed me up. I was like, what do you mean I got a brain? It's just kind of crazy, right? So my history as far as educated, yes, I am educated. I'm articulate. I have the gift of the gab. I can pretty much speak to anybody I need to. I've had jobs anywhere from sales rep manager, #1 Top Gun in pawn shops and stuff like that. I've managed my own shops. I own freighting business. I've also worked with U.S. West. I was a direct support for the Vice President of Media Relations, Garth Newfer. I was actually with them through the Quest U.S. West merger. So yeah, I'm the jack of all trades, basically. I've also died. I'm a master carpenter. Not a master, but I dabble. I could do everything from build you a house up. I've laid pipe from main to services. I can do everything, literally. I'm also a published author. I wrote a book in the 4th grade. It was a competition, basically, that they were doing for the district, and whoever wrote the best story or nominated the best story got their book published. Now, it wasn't worldwide. They were just going to make one publishing, and my big brother has it. I'm not sure if he still does. It's in his, he loves Dean Koontz. Okay, so I'm from Denver, Colorado. I'm here now. I'm a native. Born here back in 1977, 116. I'm a Capricorn. Let's see, what else did you need to know? So this is going to be a gang stalking / schizophrenia because, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a schizophrenic. I've dealt with schizophrenia for going on 5 years now, and only of the last year have I been told that there's a possibility, and to me, it's almost as hard as me swallowing that I was a schizophrenic. Okay, it took me 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years for me to finally, you don't get used to it. You just, I guess, just accept it. It's been a struggle, man. My schizophrenia is, whoa, I got stories to tell you, and we will be going through some of the main stories and how I overcame them. So this can be educational for schizophrenics. Like I said, I've studied psychology. I have a master's in psychology. I have I consider myself a master because I've read all of the best psychology books that there are out there. Child psychology, human psychology, of all the psychosis. I know everything of the brain. I know how it works and operates, your body, how it actually coincides with your heart. I've actually added to some books in psychology of what you guys got today. So I do know the brain very well. I do know when someone's crazy or when I'm acting crazy. I don't have a problem sitting there saying, no, that's just insane, or I'm acting like an ass, or just whatever, because I don't have a problem looking at myself and knowing what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Okay, when you have that problem, you have something like there's a little gap in your reality. Okay, in reality, if you cannot see what you're doing or acknowledge or whatever, not, because most people know they're being assholes, most people know they're being good or they're being mean or whatever. Now, when you don't, you have a little problem with your reality, which kind of borderlines insanity, because an insane person is somebody that has a problem with their reality. They've lost the track of their reality. Okay, and that's by definition. I know all the psychoses. You have your narcissist. You have your sociopath and you have your psychopath. Okay, now narcissism, and no one's born with it. It's something you give yourself. It's by lying to yourself. And I've read all the books. They don't sit there and tell you how you get it. They just tell you what it is. And let me help understand, explain this. And this is through, like I said, I've read. I don't stop at one book. I never stop. Especially when I'm like really, because the brain just amazes me. I just love the brain. Like since I was a kid, I actually wanted to become a brain surgeon in the 3rd grade. It was a class thing. What do you want to do? You have to give some goals, but it's not whatever. Most kids were like, I want to be a veterinarian or an astronaut. And I was like, I want to be a brain surgeon. And that was, honestly, I know about 16 years. You have to do 16 years straight school, 4 years residency and stuff whatnot. And the only reason I really didn't was because, well, other than it doesn't pan out, the money and stuff whatnot, how much time you got to put in. You'll be paying more. By the time you see a turnover, it's just... and I love it, but it still was a possibility until I realized I can't stand the sight of blood. I get weak in the knees, and that just, I mean, that and having to, they have to be awake when you're doing it. So you peel the scalp, I probably would have fainted. I can't do blood. I'm really weak in the knees when it comes to that. I see my own blood, and I pretty much faint. And I've been a very hyperactive kid. I'm hyperactive, dyslexic, ADHD. I'm not just hyperactive. I'm like hyperactive. My poor mom, and my dad, they had a hell of a time. I could just imagine trying to keep up with me. So, and I was fearless when I was a kid. I wanted to do anything. I was jumping my bike off of my roof with a ramp on it, and that was a trip to the hospital. Falling out of trees, they call me, my nicknames in Spanish are El Chango, El Dientito, and El Enano. El Enano is the midget. I didn't start growing until like the 8th grade, so everybody was there at least 6 inches taller than me at all times until the 8th grade, and then I just caught up, and then they started growing some more. And I stood out 5'8", average about 155, 160. I'm cool. I like about 170, 175, but I have a high metabolism because I'm constantly thinking, constantly working. They say that a man that works construction does not burn as much energy as a person that does crunching numbers in an office and using their brain all the time. You actually burn more energy using your brain than you do your body. I do both. So my intake is ridiculous. I try to. It's a bill in itself. My jaws get tired. I have to choose. Dude, it's a pain in the butt to be who I am. So that's who I am. This show, or this, whatever these things are called, this video that I'm going to be posting pretty much here and everywhere else, so I can educate people on schizophrenia, help actual schizophrenics deal with what they're dealing with, and let them know basically the do's and don'ts and what you can do to help yourself, and basically take control of it if you are a schizophrenic. And if you're not, there's this thing that's been brought to me, and as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it's just hard for me, okay? It's been 3.5, going on 4 years of me thinking I was a schizophrenic. And the things in my head, I actually spent time with, and not only do I know, because I've studied of the psychosis and everything else whatnot, but I spent time with a person with schizophrenia. And after a while, he opened up to me, and he literally told me his entire story. He was an ex-vet. We called him Wolf. He went by the name of Wolf. I couldn't tell you his actual name. I wouldn't want to divulge that information. So he tells me his entire story. He tells me how it happens, how it hit, but it wasn't consistent. He was an ex-vet. He actually, excuse me, he warred for us and stuff, whatever. He's a vet. He came back, got married, had a little girl. He was about 28 years old when it hit. So you're not born with this stuff. It just kind of happens, And when it happens, in the way he explained it to me, is it happened like he heard voices one day, but it wasn't consistent. It just it happens just like mine, exactly the same. So I had no reason, and I still don't have no reason to believe, other than newfound knowledge right now that I've been digging into. And at one time I wanted to crawl up with all this information I'm getting, crawl up in a little ball and go into a corner, suck my thumb, and cry. Like, I don't know, it's crazy. It's like I woke up into the twilight zone. It's so insane, but we'll get to that. Okay, so as far as the schizophrenia goes, I have I can't. No one can really sit there and say they know what it is to be a schizophrenic. You don't go through a class saying, so if one day you wake up and you hear voices or this and that, whatever, it's not natural. it's not something we're born with. We're not born. I mean, you hear a voice, you're either on the phone or downtown walking with a bunch of people in the crowd or whatever. That's normal. But when you all of a sudden wake up one day or something happens and there's a voice or voices in your head, that's that could really it really puts a big damper in your life, especially when you pride yourself on what you've overcome already as it is. But I took it. I did it pretty much to myself. I swallowed something, a very large amount of something that, well, ever since then I've been hearing voices. And it wasn't even since then. It went away, and then it came back. And then, just like his story. So it fit. I'm just like, oh, well, it hurt. I mean, it sucks. Who the hell wants to hear voices in your head? I mean, you go up to anybody. I mean, literally, you tell them you hear voices, they kind of look at you funny. I know I did. To the guy, and I didn't mean to be rude or anything, but it's just it's the way I felt. I'm like, what do you mean you hear voices? Like, it's kind of scary. Like, do you hear me? Or because he's getting mad at the voices and he's yelling at them, and I just wanted to make sure he never mistook me in his head. Like, maybe it's just scary. You don't know. Like, people automatically I did, and I'm a pretty strong guy. I don't fear too much from things or people. For one, I don't really do anything to anybody. I'm a very peaceful person. I hate bullies. I hate, I might be a fighter and stuff, whatnot, but that's where I was raised, but I still hate bullies. I'm a little guy, dude. I can't go around fighting. Alright, so, okay, once again, my name is Benjamin Berrigan. This is going to be an educational schizophrenia / human trafficking, gang stalking kind of thing. Please, if you can, if you know of anybody that has schizophrenia, this is for schizophrenics also, because no matter what, in reality, I am a schizophrenic. I have voices in my head. To me, they're real. Okay, they're not real in the world. They can't be. I don't have no proof of it. I mean, it doesn't. They just live in my head. That's the main key of schizophrenia. And schizophrenia, voices in your head. Anytime someone's talking, you got a voice in your head. It's coming through your ear and stuff, whatnot. It gets there somehow, right? We have an ear canal, and thus now it reverberates and translates into this, and your brain deciphers it, and you hear it. Okay, it makes you hear it. Okay, so the thing about schizophrenia, what makes you a schizophrenic is that it's real to you. Like you live with it every day. They interact with you. They mine evolved just the way his did. I mean, it's kind of crazy. They evolve, they like grow, they become something, an entity, and then they go, and then it just dawns on you that they have characters and just whatever. And mine are taking a turn of just, and they're listening at all times. They're with me everywhere I go. It's funny. I'm coming out to the point where I'm embracing it now. Like, I'm not hiding it. There's nothing wrong with me. As far as me, my sanity, and where I'm at, I know who I am, where I'm at all times, what's real and what's not. I leave the voices in my head in my head. I don't try to make them real. Now I treat them as if it is real, because I'm not going to let this schizophrenia make me into a different person. Okay, so in my life, I'm a respectful person. I this and that, whatever. In my head, I try to do the same thing, and I was going through a lot of things at that time when this first hit. That and then plus I've always had a lot to talk about. I've had a lot of instances in my life. I've been a child. In my childhood, I went through a lot of abuses. I went through abandonment. I have very big abandonment issues. I have just a lot of built-in angers at one time, which brings me to the around the same time I was getting my schizophrenia, something happened. Like, life was taking its toll on me. Things from my child past started surfacing back up, and it had nothing to do with my present at all whatsoever. But for some reason, Colorado State made it a part of my adult life. They literally blasted an adult picture of me with my childhood things and put it all over the internet, and now I'm reliving everything, and it just sent me spiraling out of control. Like, it took me all my life, because I was a victim. I was a victim of a lot of abuses. And it's not easy. Everybody knows that abuse and stuff whatnot, it has a way of jacking up a person. I was a child. I was a kid. All my kid life, this was happening to me. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. It literally feels like, when I look back on it, and I'm not one to be pitied. I'm not one to be anything. I learned to deal with this. I learned to overcome it. I did classes, and I did everything else. I was a part of physical abuse. I was a part of mental abuse. I was abandoned. I was, and one that I'm writing about because of what happened to me. I was a part of sexual abuse. So I was sexually molested as a child, and it ranged from when I was younger all the way up to when I was older, and then something got a hold of it and used it again to do it again, and it just seems like a lifelong thing that's been going on with me. But I lived. I lived. I became stronger. I educated myself. Now the traumas are still up there, and I'm a very strong guy, and I've been doing it all by myself. I kept it all to myself. Didn't really have no one to talk to. I mean, who do you talk to about something like that, right? And my counselors would tell me that you need to talk about it. You don't need to keep it in. You have to talk about it. You have to get it out. But I didn't have no one to talk about it, so it just kind of musters up there. It makes it harder, but I did it. I did it. I survived. I raised above and beyond. I was a very popular person. I had loves in my life. I have kids. I have everything is cool. And then Colorado State gets a hold of it, and well, they make it public information again. It was something that I did as a child, something that happened to me as a child, and 27 years later, they want to bring it back up and say it's law. When I could remember strictly in something saying, and it was deemed by the courts that I didn't have to do certain things. So there's a violation of all my rights and a court order. That's probably something I'll be taking up here pretty soon. I'm just trying to get this book out of the way, which is another thing I'll be talking about. It's a very special thing to me. If it wasn't for what happened to me, which sparked all of this, I'd probably be dead right now. I was already on my way out with what Colorado did to me and put me everywhere all over the TV, making it, and it wasn't even nothing about that. It's just sick. It's just sick. And honestly, if it wasn't, I was willing to deal with that too. It's just what happens, blah blah blah, until, like I said, this schizophrenia hit, and there's another hit. So like, God, you don't understand. It's like one hit after another. It's like first this, and then that, and then schizophrenia, and then everything is just going ape. It's like, it seems like like I just woke up in the Twilight Zone. Everything's acting different, and now whatever. I've secluded myself because of that. I basically started living inside of my room. I didn't want to leave outside. I'm a very well-known guy in my area. I live in Denver, Colorado. So I'm very well known to a lot of people. Everywhere I go, there's somebody I know, and if not, I look like somebody. And plus, I'm a very social person. I've always been a social butterfly. I talk to everybody. I can make friends anywhere. Like literally, I'll go into a room with 10 friends. I'll come out with 12 because 2 of them called their moms, kind of thing, you know. So I'm a very social person because of this and because of that, because of schizophrenia that hit me at a pretty rough time in my life, or I couldn't have, I mean, God, a worst timing ever. I was already going through hell already as it was, trying to, basically, I couldn't take what they did. I mean, one thing is I overcame it like once, twice, and then here it goes, and then finally I'm about to do something or whatever and try to start living, and then finally, and then boom, they do that, and dude, it's just too much. Those are traumas you do not mess with. Those are traumas that can, rape victims and stuff, whatnot. It will kill a person. Okay, so it was just one more thing I couldn't take. It was a lot of things, and I turned it. Well, I always drink. I'm drinking now. I get emotional when I do. I'm an emotional drunk. So if I and this story that I'm being telling, it's going to be very emotional. So forewarning. This is new for me because I don't talk to much people, except for with everything that I'm finding now is I can't stay quiet. I thought that I could deal with it. Now that I could thinking it's schizophrenia, I don't know. This is just, oh God, you don't understand. It's so sick. It's ridiculous. Normal people, everyday life does not have to go through this. Mine, with everything I've been through, and this, and then now that, it's just, like I said, there's something that happened to me 5 years ago. I'm going through the Colorado thing, and I'm reliving everything again. I thought I'm finally over it, and it's something I left back in my childhood. I can swear everything in your childhood cannot be brought to your adult. They did. And, well, I'm here now. But I couldn't take it then. I gave up. I spiraled out of control. I started drinking heavily and then smoking marijuana and then doing drugs, and I was basically trying to kill myself. But I'm scared to kill myself. Like, I can't. I'm not suicidal. I cannot. The thoughts were there, but I'm a coward. I cannot do it. I needed somebody else to do it for me. So Nobody else would. Like not like will you kill me kind of thing. No, if we fought, whatever, I'd be the one slapping people with guns in my face, uh, looking for them, or like basic. I just was fearless. I mean, fearless all my life. But now I wanted to die. I just couldn't kill myself. I was hoping someday someone would ever, and I lived in a pretty crazy life with neighborhood, and I was on the streets and stuff, whatever, because of what happened to me. I didn't feel right at home. I just I just wanted to be away from everybody. So I was always taken in by friends, by good friends. They loved me. Like they didn't know. Nobody knows. Actually, as a matter of fact, this is gonna be the first time I speak of it to anybody other than the voices in my head that had me. You know, they're. So this is gonna be the first time that I'm talking about it. Is going to be good for me. This is something I'd like to explain to people with schizophrenia and voices in your head. The more that you seclude yourself, the more that you keep out and you keep in your head, the more the schizophrenia has to play with you. Your own head starts playing with you because you need to not detach yourself from reality. Reality is people around you, the life and everything else. You seclude yourself, which is an automatic thing. It's natural. That's understood. I did. It's embarrassing. It's kind of scary. You don't know how do you explain it. You don't even understand it yourself. How and what or where or what's going to happen. It's scary. So you're going through a lot of things. You're going through, and you yourself. It's an automatic reaction. So don't feel bad because you did. Just know that that's what helps it. You need to get a whole. If you're hearing voices, you're hearing voices. They're not going to. I mean, if they're there. I mean, I went through a phase where when it first started, where I was hoping it would go away or stay away, because it would pop up one day and then it'd go away, and then I'd hear a voice and then it'd go away, and at first it started in my house, like when I was living with my mother at the time, because of this incident that I did. I swallowed a big amount of a drug. I was and not intentional. I mean, I didn't plan on doing that. It was for something else, but I swallowed a huge amount of it, and most people that I've heard don't come back from that. You kind of go, they're just not normal no more. They don't make sense. Their bodies just kind of whatever. I've heard stories, and I'm just blessed to God that I don't know how I came back to, how I actually made it through that. It's a blessing from God. It seems like death has followed me all my life, and I just can't seem to die. And I've had a lot of close experience. I've been stabbed through the heart when I was 18 years old, went under, seen the end of days, or not the end of days. I was judged, which is something I'll probably get into. So let me get to this, to the why this is and where I am at and what I'm doing in life and why I'm actually doing this. Okay, so it's for schizophrenics and it's for gang stalk victims, human trafficking, lynch mob crews. I happen to feel it's something that is very well financed. They have unlimited resources because it's just they'd have to be. The first original gang stalking didn't start like in people's heads with this thing called Vi2Kull, VI the number 2 KULL. So V2K. If you'd have to shorten it up, it's Vi2Kull. It's the voice to skull, but there's no S there. It kind of confuses me. So I don't know exactly what they're saying. Whoever it is who invented this. And I just recently seen somebody take credit for it. But it's just weird. I'll get to that here in a second. Okay, so this is going to be educational. So if you know anybody, if you have a family member that's been suffering from voices in their heads, from possible gang stalking, it doesn't have to be voices in their heads. This is a real thing. It's happening. I know people. Now me, I'm still having a hard time. Like I said, schizophrenia took me 3.5, 4 years just to get used to that. And as of late, I'm barely, like, someone brings it to my attention, and I finally get used to my schizophrenia. I'm about to start living like, yeah, like I can live this, I'm joking about it, and somebody tells me something else about this that I'm telling you, the Vi2Kull, and I still didn't get it. Like I'm looking at him like I didn't compare it to mine. I'm just a schizophrenic. So I'm being there for him because he's a victim. He's actually a victim, and he didn't tell me of Vi2Kull because he doesn't have Vi2Kull. He's the old gang stalking way, where they track you, and you're you got helicopters in there, and they do this thing called street opera. Literally, they make it sound, even the names that they give it just makes you sound crazy. It makes the victim sound like they're insane, like they're on drugs, or they're just doing something wrong. And the funny thing is, they literally target people that are already somebody of society that people don't want. Drug addicts, they have a habit, they have a disease. I mean, we have commercials about this thing. I mean, you know of the opiate epidemic right now, where we have those oxys and roxys. That's an addiction too. Then these heroin is a serious thing. If you get oxys and roxys, that's medical grade, better than any drug you can get. That thing is the best thing you can get. Okay, so we do know addictions, and the government panned one out, or the FD, or whoever those things, big pharma, whatever. So we do understand addictions; they happen. They're paying out millions and billions of dollars right now for lives that they've killed and ruined and stuff because of something that they got people addicted to for pain. Okay, so we do understand addictions. Okay, they actually have us addicted to cigarettes, alcohol, heroin. I mean, roxys. Whatever. So, but, it's an addiction. It happens, okay? So addictions happen. People can get addicted to your Facebook. You can get addicted to weightlifting. You can get addicted to smiling, being of God, and giving. It's whatever sparks it floods your endorphins or whatever, and then it builds a little trail in your head called a neurological pathway, right? Now, every time you try something new, whatnot, a new little path happens in your brain. The more you use it, the stronger it gets, and boom, there goes your addiction. Okay? So that's very simple. It's the way we're built. We're built to get addicted to something. God just built us to get addicted to Him and what feels good and being good and giving, because the greatest gift isn't the gift itself. You build, you gain this energy, it just feels good inside of you. And you build one, and you just keep on going, and next thing you know, you're lit up and it feels great. And so it's the way we're built. Okay? It just depends on what you get addicted to. A government put out opiates. Next you know, we have an opiate epidemic. Somebody that's a chemist, I guess I tracked it back to Hitler. Hitler was trying to make a super soldier, and he had meth. But then I guess the original recipe goes back to a Japanese a doctor. I don't know how it went from his files way in Japan, and was something used for something completely different, and to our streets. Because you have to be a chemist to do that. You have to be. And for one, had to get to an encrypted file and all that stuff. For one, I don't know anything about Japan. Who the hell knows, and who the hell's over there, and who can have access to somebody's encrypted, patented whatever. Who knows? But it got here, and we have meth now. We have cocaine, and and we have crack. And the cocaine, first, okay, if it came from a coca leaf, it's fine in normal form. But as soon as Tim the Toolman drug lord grabs it and he wants to make it better, or stronger, everything has to be stronger. So now we have cocaine, and then it wasn't strong enough. So then we had crack, and then from crack, Freebase, and man, coke went from that to whoo, and it's crazy. Meth went from crank. It was the biker crank. He had peanut butter and this and that, whatever. And then we went to shard and ice. And this shit is the first time that it's deteriorating. It's kind of crazy. It's getting uglier, and maybe it's because it's all man-made. There's nothing natural about it. It's all chemical. But even though it's all chemical, all the things, the nitrogen and stuff like that, they're actually a part of your body if you actually think about it, and it's water soluble. All right, so now, let's see. Okay, so I was trying to kill myself. I turned to drugs. I just gave up on life. I just couldn't take another hit. One thing is, I was surprised that I actually made it out of my childhood. That was the thing, is I made it out of my childhood with all these traumas. And as an adult, a young adult, a teen, 18, 19, everything, I'm trying, and it took a long time of my adulthood to finally, basically get a hold of it and know that it wasn't my fault, really, basically own what happened to me. Get the best out of it, get the strongest part out of it, and make me stronger, move forward, don't let it get me down, and just move on. I'm smart, I've got a lot of things going for me, I'm nobody really knows, whatever, and then Colorado, boom, and they just, yeah, that's just, it's like a lifetime of work, of trying to get your mental, and you don't have nobody, you know, and then it hits, and it was just a gut punch, man. It was just a gut punch, and nuts, kicking the nuts, one in the butt, and just really sock you when you're down, and it took its toll on me. So I started literally just self-destructing. So I started self-destructing, and I find a girl, and she happens to be part of the opiate epidemic. She got in a car accident when she was younger. She's my daughter's mother, and great girl, great girl. Her name is I'll give her whatever we called her, Angel, and that wasn't even her name. That's just what everybody knew her for, because she was a very great girl. She was of her own, very strong-minded. She had her own little thing, and beautiful. Okay. She got in a car accident. She was pregnant with her first child, and it slipped her disc. It literally kicked the crap out of her disc. It slipped it to the side, and she didn't have the money for it. I mean, insurances got her so far, but I guess to do the surgery, there's a possibility that she could have been paralyzed. So there's no surgery. She didn't want to take that chance. She could still walk, and every once in a while just slip out, but that was the most painful thing that you could possibly go through. I had to suffer with her. I didn't know that she had an addiction to opiates, which was all due to that. The government got her, or pharma. She's a part of the epidemic. She passed. She died on me. She was in a car accident. It was a crazy accident. I was happened to be on the phone with her. That she survived the accident, ripped her face open, her neck. She slammed in the side, and this is after she has my daughter. So my daughter's barely born, and at least I have that of her left. So this is all going on at once. Like, there's that. She dies on me. Going through what I'm going through, and while my daughter's there, so I'm trying to clean myself up, and I'm trying to do the best I can, and for her, and I'm still dealing with everything in my head, and then my schizophrenia hits, and it just doesn't stop. So then I was diagnosed with emphysema at 21, 22, I think. I can't remember the age, something like that. I don't know. It was one thing after another. Recently, as of late, when all this is happening, I got hit with lupus at the same time. So I got schizophrenia, lupus, I've got all this going on. My baby's mom dies, my head traumas from when I was a kid, and then my schizophrenia kicks. I feel like Job. The story of Job. He gets struck and loses everything, right? Well, that's what everything is going on me. Like, right? Everything is gone. Like, it's just going. And it beat me down. It just but it seemed like it felt like it was just all my life, It was hard. So, but it's just, my understanding is just, I was just so, I had no energy left, no will left, no nothing. I was just beat to shit, and then I was just too done. I would just sit there in my bed, and I didn't want to die, I didn't want to live. I was just there. I was just done. And when my mom gets home one day, she was going through cancer, so that's another blow. My mom's going through cancer, and I might lose her. I'm going through that also. So you just name it, it's piling up. It's just, there's so much going on all at once. And it's no excuse, but like, I'm a pretty strong guy. God. But that was a lot. It's just one like after another, and it's all at the same time hitting, and it's just rough. It's just rough. It's just really really kick you in the boo-boo, you know. So my mom gets home and she taught me how to cut hair a long time ago, and she's wearing wigs or whatever, and she's dealing with her cancer, and I'm there helping her with my daughter, you know, because she has her, which is awesome. We needed help and stuff, whatever at the time, and with everything I was going through, and she was pretty much the only one capable. She's an awesome woman. She's a saint. She's my mama, you know. So she has her, you know, she needed something. I mean, her boys all grew up, and she always wanted a girl, you know, and with her losing, with me possibly losing her, you know, and she needed something. She needed something to give her drive. I was like, you know, hey, maybe, you know, here's your little girl or whatever. We can do this together, blah, 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 and give you something to drive for. I mean, we're old already. We're done, but hey, she needs you. Her mom's gone, busting out, whatever, and my mom, you know, yeah, she was all for it, and she helps keep her out of social services because of her mom's addiction. It was bad. You just can't kick that stuff. We weren't supposed to get pregnant, but we did on my birthday. So she was conceived on January 16th, and this is crazy. She went into labor on her